Hello everyone, my name is Chang from the University of Birmingham in the United Kingdom. I'm grateful for having the opportunity to introduce my research today. The title I'm going to present is Body Personification for a View-Independent Auditory Aid to Blind Rock Climbers, which is based on the work published in WACV this year. I also prepared a slide with a short introduction to some sports-related ongoing research in my lab at the end of this presentation. Okay, let's get started. There are three main background elements that make up my research. It aims to solve various computer vision problems based on machine learning theory and techniques, and further improve real human-robot interaction. Naturally, in recent years, deep learning is a main tool for my research, and various computer vision research are undergoing. My research has been focusing on the design, development, and application of AI systems that learn from humans and cooperate in a deep and meaningful way. I call this approach human-centered visual learning, and I'm approaching it with two goals. The first is learning from human, which implies an AI system should be continuously improved while learning from human, imitating human intelligence process. And the second is learning about human, which means that the AI system needs to get to know humans by seeing them and create an effective and satisfying human-robot or human-computer interaction experience. More specifically, in my lab, we have been conducting research on AI algorithms and robots that can directly help humans. Among them, there is a robot that gives personalized dressing assistance for a disabled person, and a wheelchair that is controlled by eye gaze movement. By tracking the posture of people with a certain disability, the robot learned the radius of movable region by itself, and it provides the most suitable assistance according to the difficulty of each movement. The video you see on the left is a robot system that helps a real human subject get dressed. The video shown on the right is the control of the wheelchair using only the user's eye gaze movement, acquired using a laptop camera. It is expected to be of benefit to patients with limited muscle control. Now, I'm going to present our recent work on body personification for a view-independent auditory aid to blind rock climbers. This work was done by my student Joseph Ramsey. Let's watch a short video talking about rock climbing of a sight-losing man.
Originally started to lose my sight in 2013. I was 33 at the time, and it's called macular dystrophy or macular degeneration. One of the main things I was really concerned about when I started to lose my sight was the fact that I wouldn't be able to climb anymore. I've always enjoyed climbing and found it a really good way to stress relieve and to keep fit. Some of the hobbies and things that I used to do I've had to give up, obviously, as well as driving, but climbing is one of the main and most important things that I like to do in my spare time. It's hard to explain, but it's like looking, it's like having a black dot in front of your eye, so everything I look at disappears. So at the moment I'm looking at you and I can't see the camera you're pointing at me or your face or anything else. So, but I've still got my peripheral, so I tend to, if I want to see things, I'll look up and use the very bottom of my sight to see where I'm going and things like that. And that's how I basically get around and how I continue to read with visual aids and things like that. So when I'm climbing, I can't tend to see where my feet are going. I can't see where all the holds are around me, and I struggle with most times, but especially with colours and things like that. So it's a lot easier if I've got a sight guide. I think other than using my peripheral to basically see where I'm going, I use radio headsets, so someone on the ground who's belaying can tell me where I'm going and make sure that I'm not going the wrong way. tell me where the next hold is and the foothold is, and help me to get on that way. That's pretty much it. As well as when we're doing bouldering, so which is lower stuff, things with no ropes, we tend to use a laser pointer. So you don't need to worry about having a rope. So you don't need to. You can have your hands free, so you can use a laser pointer to point out where the next hold is and the next foothold is. It's fantastic. I never thought it would ever happen. I joined the series last year in September and competed in the para selection event in February, and I never thought it would happen, but it's fantastic. Can't wait to compete internationally and really looking forward to it.
As you can see, people who are blind also want to do the same hobbies as healthy people, and the fulfillment of those desires can give them a sense of satisfaction and happiness that are far greater than those of healthy people, and instill confidence in their lives. A visually impaired climber generally climbs with a sighted assistant, whose role is to direct the climber verbally from the ground. The primary aim for this work is to investigate the feasibility of replacing this sighted assistant with a computation aid. Eventually, we want to make a system which automates the role of the sighted assistant in order to provide blind people with the freedom to climb and train on their own. We design an auditory feedback system used to instruct the blind climber and demonstrate that a user can learn to follow it in a relatively short time by showing a significant improvement in performance over just a few trials with the system. When we designed this new system, we have set four non-functional system requirements. Number 1, performance. The system should be running in real time to provide appropriate feedback based on the climber's pose. Number 2, learnability. To demonstrate the effectiveness of the system, we should be able to show some improvement in a climber's use of the system over a period of time. Number 3, portability. The system should be available on as many platforms as possible and compatible with as many cameras as possible too. It should also be robust to many scenarios, including a variety of camera angles and users' body types. Number 4, reliability. The system should be sufficiently bug-free. The proposed system makes use of a device called a moonboard. The moonboard shown on the right, invented by Ben Moon in 2005. It is a device used as a training tool by climbers worldwide. It consists of a single panel, 2.44 meter high and 3.15 meter wide, with 142 holes arranged in a 18 by 11 grid. Thousands of identical moonboards exist worldwide, meaning the system can be used at many gyms, as well as allowing climbers to follow detailed and structured training plans with very little logistical effort, whenever, wherever they like. A database of thousands of moonboard routes exists online, meaning we can easily access many climbs for our user to try. Here is the system outline. Firstly, the user points a camera at the moonboard and performs a calibration. The user is then walked through the selected moonboard problem as the system tracks their motion through the route. They're informed of the position of the next hold and given feedback as to the direction and proximity of the next hold as they move towards it. Then the route planning is continued. In this work, we primarily focus on two particularly challenging aspects of the assistant's role, which are skeleton tracking, auditory feedback. Here are some additional details. Microsoft Kinect's body pose tracking could not be used for this kind of research due to the long distance and various noisy elements of the climbing environment. Instead, we used OpenPose for real-time body pose tracking. The OpenPose is a color-based skeleton tracker developed by Carnegie Mellon University, based on convolutional neural network. And we reduce the tracking noise using combined filters and smooth the key point movement. The OpenPose suffered from two issues. The first issue was that of noisy key point detection. The small-scale noise, which is a characteristic of almost any complex vision-based system, and manifested as variations of around 5 pixels from the true value. The second was large-scale noise, which occurred as a result of OpenPose simply getting the joint position wrong, caused by partially occlusion or body symmetry. In this work, we used a combined filtering method of Kalman filter and median filter. And this resulted in a noise reduced and smoothed skeleton tracking. The tracking skeletons are projected to board space using a perspective projection. Calculating rotation matrix R and translation matrix T is triggered by the user clicking on a number of predetermined calibration holds in the image in the initial calibration stage. By monitoring the climber's movement, fall detection and goal completion detection are continuously performed. The fall is detected by checking the climber's average velocity direction. As the moonboard routes do not include any element of down climbing, it is safe to assume that the climbers will be traveling upwards always. Detecting the goal completion is also based on tracking skeleton key points. A key point is considered to have achieved its goal if it is closer than t distance to the target hold and has been stationary for t time frames. Then, based on the tracking information, the system interactively provides auditory feedback to the climber via wireless headphones. So we designed two auditory feedbacks. Verbal feedback gives a high-level instruction to the user to provide a rough estimate for where in space the goal is, the direction and distance to the next hold, and the hand or foot to be used should be announced to the climber on completion of a move. For example, A14 with your left hand. This is to right and horizontally in a line with your right hand, like this. And the tone provides feedback by which the climber can make the small adjustment needed to reach the goal precisely. Based on the distance and the direction of the hold which the climber is currently moving to, the tone changes similarly to a car parking sensor. We have tested two different tones, which are linear tone and quadratic tone. The user study clearly says that the quadratic tone is much easier to sense the distance. So in this work, we have implemented an integrated system using ROS. This system may not be suitable for blind people. However, the main objective of the research is to investigate the feasibility of providing feedback while on the route. So priority was given to the requirements for during and after climbing. First of all, the system is providing a video stream with tracked body poses captured by Microsoft Kinect camera and OpenPose. The system also provides the user with a means to select a route which they would like to climb from the Moonboard database. Then it also visualizes the climber by projecting the estimated skeleton and holes in the Moonboard space. Not only with the moonboard, we also experimented with applying our system to another whole-body reaching task, namely the popular game Twister. We were able to adapt the projection model to Twister very easily, providing as calibration points the center of each spot on the Twister mat and performing the calibration in the same way as for the moonboard, as well as showing that our system is robust enough to handle a variety of complex reaching tasks. This extension provided the simulated climbing wall. So we also described the auditory feedback system used to instruct the blind climber and demonstrate that a user can learn to follow it in a relatively short time by showing a significant improvement in performance over just a few trials with the system. So experimental results show that a user can learn to follow it in a relatively short time. Both spoken and tonal feedback types were extremely important when completing a move. So in this research, we have successfully implemented a robust and efficient solution to a little explored problem, that of assisting blind climbers in their training regimes. Assistive systems for extreme sports such as climbing are not a well-explored field, and we feel that the system we have implemented presents a potentially effective solution to a problem which has previously seen little attention. We demonstrated both quantitatively and qualitatively that the system is learnable. That is, that users can adapt to it to be able to follow its instructions quickly and fluently in the short term. We showed that the proposed framework could be potentially adapted to other real-time assistance required systems. In addition, I'd like to briefly introduce sports-related ongoing research topics in my lab. The University of Birmingham is renowned for being one of the world's top 5 sports science departments. Among them, I'm working on various and interesting sports-related studies with Professor Hyung, who is sensory motor expert. With him, vision-based musculoskeletal movement estimation research is underway, and we plan to use this for research on rehabilitation treatment programs and exercise posture correction. In addition, with Liverpool FC and Fulham FC, we are doing some preliminary research to find and track potentially good youth players using computer vision and deep learning techniques to accurately quantify each player's capabilities and make a database. I'd like to express my thanks to the students in my lab who have actually carried out the studies that I showed you today. In addition, I'm pleased to inform you that the research presented was possible with the help of various collaborators and sponsors. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to contact me by email if you have any questions.